Hey guys, welcome back to Ashley Reacts. Let's get into this video. I never thought that it would be back. Now, judging from the title, you already know what I'm talking about. I kind of, let me just say, the original show, Pretty Little Liars, is ultimately my favorite show in this entire world. Okay, the ride that I had with this show was unbelievable. Yeah, it might have kind of had its ups and downs, especially towards the end. Nevertheless, like literally, when I tell you that I got my first two tattoos because of this show, I have, you know how, okay, so those who know the show, you know A. Every time A leaves a message, they sign it A. I got that tattoo. I have A tattooed on my wrist with a check mark. And I also have Pretty Little Liars in cursive, like how they do on the show, also tatted on me. Now, when I tell you that the journey that I had with this show was nothing like I ever had before. This show broke the mold for television. Now, it was during the time when Twitter first came out. Every week it was trending on Twitter. Every time PLL, a new season would come out, or you had like a little spin-off, Ravenswood or whatever. It was on and popping. It was fun. It was one hell of a ride. I was sad to see it end. But they did have a sort of mini little spinoff that they tried to play with called Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist. I did watch that and it was enjoyable. I'll say it wasn't that bad. Casting was great. The story was great. I didn't think it would last, so I wasn't surprised it only lasted one season. But I'm glad we do have that one season because it was not that bad. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Now, what HBO has done with this new version of PLL called Original Sin. I've already seen the first three episodes that have been released, and I'm going to give you my review to those episodes in this video. And when I say, oh my God, that is my reaction. Oh my God. Now, going into this, when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this actually might not be that bad. Now, when I tell you I am a fan, a PLL fan and stan, I have posters, I have signatures, autographs, I have memorabilia from this show. I have been to the Warner Brothers set. That is how much I love this show. Now, I love all my girls. I love all my liars. Now, I'm also thinking about getting the little finger A tattoo they all got, but that's beside the point. Now, if you want to know who my favorite was, it was always Emily and Mona. But Mona became my ultimate favorite towards the end, and then it was just all Mona. All Mona was just my favorite. Period. Like you can't get better than Mona. But that's besides the point. I'm going back to the old show. Stay focused on Original Sin. Now, the casting for Original Sin is fantastic. I love it. I love the characters all together. Like literally, I love how when you're watching the show, you're automatically getting like you're people who are fans of the original show. You're able to reference certain pieces of the new show, and you're like, oh, that's like blah blah blah. That's like blah. Like some of the girls, like we've already got an Allison, we've already got an Ezra. Like it's like I don't want to spoil too much, but it's really good. Like it's like how PLL was very suspenseful, right? It was suspenseful and like a cheesy family ABC family kind of, but we still loved it. It was still like like all of the A reveals except for you know which ones I'm talking about. All of the A reveals like had you on your toes. Like they had cliffhangers to where like you had to wait a whole season to see what happened or who was dead or who blah blah blah. Now this show, the scare is on. They don't hold back on the scares. I freaking love it. This is more of like a an adult PLL. Like you had your ABC family friendly TV show. This one, they not giving no fucks. They're not playing no games, and I'm loving it. I am enjoying this show so far. I'm loving how it's not the same thing. It's the same premise. You have a killer who's sending text messages, who's disguising himself as A, but the premise of the show basically it's almost like you have two separate PLLs, right? So it's like this PLL went this way, but then you have this PLL version going this way. Both versions are good, and it's like, whoa. Now it would be cool if maybe in the near future they would do a little cameo, but I'm trying to figure out if that would even work and how would they do that. But it's looking really, really good. I was watching a video clip just the other day, and Lucy Hale is actually friends with the main character. I forget her name. I'm still learning all the liars' names, but the main girl who's pregnant on the show, spoiler, she's pregnant in the trailer, but the main one who's pregnant right now, her and Lucy Hale are best friends. So Lucy Hale went to the premiere of Original Sin, and Lucy Hale has said she's watched it and she's impressed. So if my little liar Aria is impressed, then hey. But I'm curious to see if the other girls have seen it too. But that's besides the point. So far, there's 3 episodes out on HBO Max. It is fantastic. I love it so far. It's given me a ride that seems familiar, but it's different. They even kept the original theme song, but kind of tweaked it a little bit and made it scary. I was wondering how they were going to do that. The fact that they actually kept the same opening and just made it kind of even scarier, I love it. I love it. They took something old and made it new. And the theme is scarier. It's a minute long. It's actually what you're hearing in the background right now. So it's amazing. Anybody who watched the original PLL, like I said, you can compare the two and you're like, ooh, but this is more like, this is more this and this and that. And you're like, oh, are you being another such and such? Or, are you, what are you trying to say? It's like certain situations that happen with the girl. You're like, oh, that's like the time when blah blah blah. Like there's this one scene that reminded me of when Allison and Arya caught her dad with another woman. There's a scene in episode 1 that reminds me of that. So it's just the same thing. Like if I remember everything that happened with PLL original, right? With the original PLL. So I know all the characters. I know what happens. I know everything because I watched this. I watched this every season like 20 times. So having to reflect back on what we had in the past with this new sort of setup is fantastic and I'm enjoying it. I don't know how they're going to release episodes. I don't know if it's like every week is 3 episodes or is it going to be 1 episode a week now or I don't know how they're going to do it, but hopefully they do like 1 episode a week so that way we can keep the suspense. But the show is so good. If they gave us 3 episodes a week, I would be okay with that because, and I'm also wondering how many episodes does this season have? Will it end in a cliffhanger? This A is fucking creepy as hell. This A is almost like I don't know. I still almost feel like of course there's always someone else that's really A. Like the person who's that like the guy that the creepy guy that we're seeing is not A particularly. He's just the person that's scary and creepy as hell that's torturing the girls, right? But there's somebody behind all of it that's like sending the text messages and all that kind of stuff, just like in the original. But I'm excited to see what happens next. They already have the promos out for episodes 4 and 5. So I'm thinking that next week is going to be episode 4 and 5. Anyway, if you haven't watched the original Pretty Little Liars and you've seen this one and you're now interested, I highly suggest you go and rewatch, or not rewatch, but go ahead and watch all of Pretty Little Liars original. Even try to watch The Perfectionist, maybe. I mean, The Perfectionist, you don't have to. That's a whole nother. It only lasted 1 season, so I would just skip over that. But definitely, definitely, definitely watch Original Sin because it is interesting. It's giving you a whole new ride, but it's a familiar ride, which I'm loving because it's almost like I got my show back. Like my show ended, but I got it back, but in another lifetime, so to speak, or like almost present time. Let's just pretend like old PLL was like 90s PLL, even though it was 2000s. Let's just say if it was like 90s PLL, but then now you're getting 2022 PLL, which is more dangerous and it's more scary. That's the comparison. So I'm loving this. I'm loving it. It's not a spinoff. It's different. So I'm loving this show a lot, and I'm about to go see what day they're gonna actually release episodes 4 and 5, so I can get on that because I binge watched all three shows back to back. Freaking love it, and when I tell you, it is like nothing you've ever seen. It's good. That's all I can say. It's really really good. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed my little review to Pretty Little Liars original sin. A is back. I can't believe I'm saying A is back. Wow. Okay. Anyway, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.